Welcome to Vancouver Business Network, where entrepreneurs learn, network, and grow. I'm Roger Killen, the organizer. Our weekly workshop for entrepreneurs is brought to you by TELUS Business, the fastest and most reliable pure fiber broadband network in Metro Vancouver. Our speaker this evening is Andrew Barber-Starkey. Andrew has been coaching small business owners and self-employed entrepreneurs for over 25 years. His coaching program, the Pro Coach Success System, provides a simple, structured approach that enables his clients to consistently double their income while taking more time off. Members of Vancouver Business Network and guests, it's now time for us to put our hands together and give a warm welcome to Andrew Barber-Starkey.
Fantastic. So how's everyone doing?
Good.
Yeah, me too. So, question for you. How many of you know that you have the, we've got to get my, we need to get my stuff. How many of you know that you have the potential to achieve more than you already are? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, every hand's going up. And how much? So raise your hand if you'd say you have just a little more potential. No hands. Oh, Rogers, yeah, okay, you're pushing the boundaries, right? What about just a medium amount of extra potential? How many of you are going to go for you have a lot more potential than you've been expressing in this world? Yes. Okay, so tonight, guess what? We're going to work on helping you unlock that and unleash that and let you loose on the world in an hour's time. How's that sound? I know, it's kind of scary. So, how can I help? Tonight, what I want to do is share with you 7 key principles that I've used with my clients over the years that will significantly help you significantly increase your performance so you'll actually perform better immediately starting tomorrow morning. How's that sound?
Yeah.
Okay. Not only that, but I'm going to tell you another thing. I'm going to share with you the single biggest secret that I've learned in 25 years of coaching. It truly is, it's a secret that's out in the open. Nobody sees it. And when I explain it to you, you'll kind of get it. But no kidding, my clients have used this process, this principle to create massive results, had many, like hundreds of people have become millionaires and even multimillionaires just applying this principle. So between the 7 accelerators I'm going to give you and this principle, you should have a full package that's going to take you to the next level. Are you ready for that?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know about it. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
That's better. Okay, good. So let me just tell you a little bit about my story. When I was in my 20s, I was, quite honestly, a nothing. I had no self-esteem. I didn't have any sense of direction. I was flailing around, didn't believe in myself in any way, shape, or form. And through some strange twist of fate, I fell in love with the sport of hang gliding. Now, one of the things about hang gliding, it's pretty much on the edge. That is to say, you either live or you die. And I just got addicted to the sport. And so I spent 7 years flying pretty well full time. I became the #1 ranked hang glider pilot in Canada. I've been to 19,000 feet on a hang glider. So I can tell you this, from 19,000 feet, you can see the curve of the earth. It's unbelievable. And my claim to fame in hang gliding is that I once launched my hang glider in Invermere, British Columbia. Everybody, or some of you know where Invermere is, right on this side of the Rocky Mountains in the Kootenay Valley. And 3.5 hours later, I landed in Lake Louise, Alberta, on the other side of the Rocky Mountains. First person ever to do it. In fact, the only person to ever do it that route, and I actually know why. It turned out it wasn't what I thought it might be. It's amazing how resourceful one gets when you get into a tricky situation, let's put it that way. So, but through that, I developed some self-esteem, some confidence, and some ambition. So then I thought, well, what am I going to do with this? We can't be a hang glider all my life. So sales, it's a natural place. You can still put yourself into harm's way, but you make money instead of dying. It seems like a good thing to do. So I went and worked for Xerox in Calgary. It started out as a rookie. I really knew nothing about sales. There were 26 salespeople in our office. And in my first year at Xerox, I was the top sales rep. So that was pretty amazing, except that how I did it wasn't what I would recommend for you. Number one, hard work, like 24/7, just pushing myself. And you know, it was just hardly worth the effort, but it did give me a boost up. So maybe if you're young and you want to get ahead, it's worth that effort, and it comes out over time. But I learned a tremendous amount while I was at Xerox. And then in the early 90s, I got hooked on personal development. So all sorts of personal development courses. I think I've taken a year of my life, probably sitting in workshops and trainings and with gurus and walking on fire and all that kind of crazy stuff. And again, in the process, I developed and got some more clarity about who I was and more confidence. And then that allowed me in my early 90s, at 93 actually, to discover my passion and purpose. Now, how many of you here know what your purpose is? Cool. It is the best thing ever, isn't it? When you're actually out there doing something that you believe and you're passionate about. So in my case, what I discovered is my purpose is to empower other people to reach more of their potential, to have them become empowered. And in the process, I felt empowered too. And so how do you do that? Well, this was 93. There was no such thing as coaching. And there was no internet. There was no nothing. And I just came up with this idea. I'll just be a business coach, because people were asking me for help with their sales anyway, so why not? Well, here's a tip. My first tip of the night. Don't ever start a new industry. And especially in a world where there's no internet. So I was calling through the yellow pages to companies that had sales teams saying, I'm a coach, I'm a business coach. What? Well, we don't do any sports around here. So needless to say, it took a while. And I persevered because I was passionate about it, and I had some money for my corporate days. And so time went on, and by 1998, I actually managed to earn a six-figure income, which was pretty, well, even today, it's pretty unusual in coaching. So I found my purpose. I was doing my passion. What's next? How about partnership? So raise your hand if you've know of T. Harv Eker. Anyone? Oh, quite a few of you. Okay. So Harv came in into Canada in late 99, and he's a get-rich-quick guy, basically, kind of a Tony Robbins, make a bunch of money, high-energy guy. And I met him, and he actually hired me as his business coach. And so I was coaching Harv, and he was doing these seminars, like amazing marketer. He'd get 600-800 people out to a free evening seminar. The guy was just unbelievable. And he said, Andrew, I've got this problem. I've got all these people that are getting, taking my courses and my workshops and seminars. He said, they get all pumped up, and then what happens? Nothing. It just fades away. He says, could you create some kind of coaching system, some kind of coaching structure that would help them continue on and even move onward? And of course, what do you say when a multimillionaire asks you if you can create something? I said, sure, let's give it a try, right? So we formed a partnership. And I designed a structured system for people that were self-employed or paid based on performance. And Harv was amazing. He launched it. We had about 2,000 people in the program in no time. And unbelievably, it worked amazingly well. So I partnered with Harv for 4 years. And I will tell you you mentioned at the introduction about people doubling their income. Harv used to promise that if you joined the Success Tracks program, you would double your income and double your time off in less than 3 years. I had no idea that would happen, but it turned out at the end of 3 years, when I was handing out the certificates for people that had completed the 3-year curriculum, almost all of them had actually doubled their income if they were in a situation to have done that. It was really, really amazing. And there was another piece when they came to the front of the room to get their certificates. It's not just that they had better clothes and I knew they were driving new cars and so on. They were different people. And I saw how the transformation came just from them being successful in their businesses. And I thought, okay, I'm doing this forever. Now, I didn't want to stay with Harv forever. Let's just say that was a tough gig. But I was I was doing seminars every quarter in Vancouver, Red Deer, Alberta, Seattle, and Los Angeles for a while. And it was quite a ride. And then in 2004, I couldn't stand it any longer. And I started my own company, Grow Coach. So I already had a coaching system. I redesigned it, modified it, improved it, and went on my own. I've been doing that full time now since 2004. And so the system has been refined. Our clients get even better results than they did when I was with Harv. And it's been quite remarkable. Which brings us to what's next beyond this. And I want to challenge you. I want to have you think about this. What would you want your life to be like? Where would you see yourself being 10 years from now? How many of you are crystal clear? Raise your hands. Okay, 20%, okay. How many of you are slightly, yeah, okay. So here's my point. The reason that my life unfolded and happened the way it did is that I was clear about the life that I wanted. So when I was at Xerox in 1985, when everybody was away on the weekend, I used to work, of course, because I was trying to prove something. And I found this book called Business and Career Planning book. And I started working through it and it asked this question: what do you want your life to be like 10 years from now? So I did that exercise, and everything just started to come together. And so by the time I started creating the Success Tracks program for Harv in 2000, I went, I'm very clear. An exercise like that has to be in this program. So I created and put it in there. And you know what? It was, I guess, 2 years ago. So we launched it in 2000. 2 years ago, I met a guy at I was doing a presentation. This guy came up to me and he said, Andrew, you probably don't remember me. I was one of the masses in the Success Tracks program. He says, but I remember doing that planning workbook. And he said, you know what? I moved last year and I came across my 10-year planning workbook. He says, everything in it came true. My point being, you absolutely have to have that vision and hold on to it and be connected with it. So what do you want in your life 10 years from now? Do you have a 10-year vision? And how clear is it? And how on track are you to achieving it if you have one? So if you were to give yourself an on-track rating, that had 1 to 5, raise your hand if you'd be, let's see, we'll start with, if you were a 1, you're not even sure where you're going, you're kind of splashing around the shallow end. Nobody there? Okay, they're lying. Okay. What about a 5? Who's a 5 that you really know where you're going and on track for that? Nice. Well, it's one thing about a group like this. So we've got 20% again. And then the rest of you are somewhere in between. But the point is that having that vision makes a massive difference. Now, how do you know whether you're getting there? Here's how. If you're performing, if you're measuring we're talking about performance here, ask yourself at the end of the week, look back and see how you spent your time and what you accomplished. And ask yourself this question: to what extent did the actions I took this week advance me towards my 10-year vision? So you can have been busy, you can have made a big sale, you can have done all sorts of things, but did you move towards your vision? That's what you want to be marching towards. Otherwise, you can just end up in busyness. That make sense? So you need to, first of all, find and have that vision. And then once you know where you're going, we can get to the second part. So we're going to skip over that because towards the end of the evening, I'm going to give you a workbook that you can fill out, same kind of thing that I did when I was with Xerox, only much refined and proven. So I'll give each of you one of those workbooks, and you can have it and do this. So we're going to assume that you already know what your 10-year vision is. And now let's get on to how can you unlock your full potential. And I'm going to show you these seven principles of moving forward faster, accelerators, I call them. So here's what I'll tell you. There's 7 specific strategies that when you do them, it'll move you faster. And if you do one, it'll move you faster. But if you do all 7, what do you think happens? It goes exponential. Does that make sense? Yeah. So I'm going to show you the 7, and if you can build one on top of the other, you can go home and start performing at a much higher level, effective tomorrow. Okay, let's start right at the beginning. Accelerator number 1. Now, question for you. Who has the most time in a day? This guy, Bill Gates. This student who's relaxing, maybe got more time. Homeless person. Oprah. Or how about this person? How about you? Who's got the most time? Everybody has the same amount of time. In fact, it's the one place that we're all created equal, right? So it's not about how much time you have. It's about what you do with that time. And here's what I want to say. How many of you think you could be better, let's say, at time management? Okay, well, I'm going to propose that there's actually no such thing as time management. The time management is a word or two words that we've come up with to kind of give ourselves a break, to let ourselves off the hook. Because what is it really? It's managing yourself. Well said, right? You have the time. It's you managing yourself. Blaming it on time management is just kind of taking the heat off. So no, we're all created equal. We all have the same number of hours in a day, and this is the accelerator that will make a difference for you in this area. Prioritize your actions. We all have the same amount of time. So you've probably heard of the 80-20 rule, right? So what does it say? It says 80% of results come from 20% of your actions. And then the other 80% of your actions generate just the remaining 20%. So it applies in many different areas, but when it comes to using your time, you need to prioritize and think of what are those 20% activities. I actually, with our clients and with our members, I don't call it the 80-20 rule. I call it the 20-80 rule, because really you want to look, what's the 20% that's going to make the big difference? But essentially, does this little pointer thing work? Yes, it does. So it basically says that 20% of your effort generates 80% of your result, and the other 80% generates 20% of your results. So let's think about how that works in terms of your money. So how many of you are good at math? So how many times more effective is a 20 than an 80? 4 times more effective. Well, let's do the math. Suppose you earn $1,000 in 10 hours of work. Okay? $100 an hour. You generated 80% of that, or $800, in 2 hours. So you average $400 an hour during that period. You've got this, or your bookkeeper should already figure this out. You generated $200 in the other 8 hours, which was $25 an hour. So in actual fact, it's not 4 times more effective to prioritize. It's 16 times more effective. So do you see that time you spend looking at something on YouTube, or spending extra time in email, or spinning your wheels in whatever way you best do at your office? That time is so critical. If you can identify those important things that are going to give you the payoff, it's going to make a massive, massive difference. So supposing you were diligent about prioritizing your activities and doing only those things that were going to move you forward, what kind of difference would that make to you? It's pretty significant. And if you look at the people that are most successful, Warren Buffett, or the people that are really, really high producing, all they do is focus on those things that give them the biggest payoff. That, right? You need to start doing the same thing. And think about, how much would it be worth for you if you did that? So just take a moment and think about that. This prioritizing your actions on a quarterly, a weekly, and a daily basis. What sort of difference would that make? And how can you use this? So you're welcome to take a note to yourself, or make a mental note of, how could you put this into action, and how will you put this into action? Everybody got it? Yeah. Can we move on? Okay, good. So that's an accelerator that will make a massive difference for you, yes? Okay, and that's just number 1. Let's go to accelerator number 2. So I want you to think of all of the speakers you've heard, the courses, the YouTube things you've watched, and so on. And they always speak, when it comes to being successful, I always speak about one thing. They always say you have to have what? So you have to have goals, right? Yes, you have to have goals. And even I said a minute ago, you have to have your 10-year vision. But it is essential to know you're going for sure. But how many of you notice that the majority of people, even if they do have goals, they're not moving towards them? You notice that? So there's something missing. And the answer is that goals are not enough. So take a look at this. Goals are important, but what's missing, guys? The action. Well, between the goals and the action, there's something in between. A plan. A plan. If you have a goal, then you want to make a plan. Like, imagine we were gonna go from here to New York, and there's thousands of different ways you could get there, right? So once we decide we're going to go to New York and how much time we've got, then you can say, okay, here's my plan. Here's how I'm going to do it. And then it becomes actionable. So it's the plan that's missing. And people make big plans all the time, and they don't follow through on them. You know, you hear, raise your hand if you're a financial advisor in the room. There's a couple of you.
I used to be.
Yeah, you used to be. There you go. How often do people tell you they're going to save for retirement? And what happens about it? Not so much, right? What about losing weight? How many people say they're going to lose weight? And then they have a goal. Yeah, my goal is to lose 20 pounds, but it never comes off. Why? Because they don't have a plan. And therefore, even when they do take action, they're not necessarily taking the most effective action in order to get there. So think about all the people you know that have big plans and aren't going anywhere, or big goals that aren't going anywhere. I promise you, they don't have any plans in place to follow through it. You know, my daughter's 14, and she keeps talking about how she needs to earn money. I say, well, okay. Would you like me to help you create a resume? No. You know, basically, she's just making a bunch of hot air. She needs money. She's desperate for money. She wants to get some money. She hasn't, well, she did apply for one job. And a month or so ago, we went for dinner with a friend of ours. And there was a woman from Mexico who was a guest for the dinner as well. And she said, I finally got a job. So really, she's a new immigrant to Canada. So I said, really, how many jobs, how many applications did you make? And she said, 160. And my daughter nearly fell off her chair, and then she just went away. But the importance of planning is so crucial. If you think about all of the major companies, it could be an Amazon or Microsoft, down to a smaller entrepreneurial company like a 1-800-GOT-JUNK, or even the smaller businesses that are tighter, small businesses that are 10, 20 people, and they still have solid plans if they're moving forward. And many years ago, back in '98, I had the privilege of working with Richard Jaffray, who was the founder and president of Cactus Restaurants. And back then they had 4 restaurants, one right across the street, which was kind of cool to see. I haven't been down here for a while. And but when I was coaching Richard, it was in expansion mode. He had this vision of what I would call the upscale casual dining scene. That didn't exist in 1998. There was Earl's, and there was Milestones was the other one. The Keg was a dining house. You went there it was a different experience. It wasn't casual at the Keg so much, And Milestones and Earl's were doing their thing at kind of relatively low end, and Richard had the vision. No, we're going to take this thing to a whole new level. And what I had the opportunity to do was work with them while we created plans and get their whole team on board and putting that in place every quarter. That's why they're Canada-wide now and a very significant company. So nothing happens without a plan. So are you with me? Make plans, not just goals. Yes? Got it? Yes. Okay, note to yourself, how can I use this? Where can I use this? If you don't have, in my world, if you don't have a plan for the quarter, a plan for the in addition to your long-term vision and your goals, a plan for the quarter and a plan for the week, then you're not optimizing your energy. Okay, accelerator number 3. What's that? Square. Come on. An empty box. Thank you. You got it right. That is a box. It's also known as something else. How many realize that you live in a box? It's called your comfort zone. Yes? You live in your comfort zone. And the interesting thing about your comfort zone is that everything that you already have, where is that? It's inside your comfort zone, right? And everything that you want that you don't have, where's that?
Outside.
Damn it. It's outside your comfort zone. So there's only 2 possibilities for you to get these things that you want. One is that you can wait until they come inside your comfort zone, which will happen from time to time on an occasional basis, but certainly not predictably or consistently. Or what's the other option? Get out of your comfort zone. There's only one problem with that. It's uncomfortable.
Lack of courage.
Right? That's the bottom line. It's just damn uncomfortable. So, no matter how you look at it, it's going to be that way. Now, I'm going to make a confession tonight that I have never made before in public, which is kind of weird in a way. But so what you guys need to know is that of all of the things I could possibly do in the entire world, I probably hate public speaking more than anything. It is just not my gig. My brain's not here. I'm not able to connect. Like I see somebody like you stand up here and talk about your business. You're eloquent and smooth. Just doesn't work for me. So in order for me to stand up here and get up here and say yes to Roger, I have to jump outside my comfort zone. And you know what? I do it for 2 reasons. Number one, because I know that in order to reach my full potential, I need to keep stretching myself, even though I've been speaking in front of up to 200-300 people on a regular basis for 15 years and still never become comfortable public speaking. But I still know I need to stretch myself, which is what the fire walking and all that was about too, right? And the other thing is, I've got an incredible coaching program. I change people's lives. If I'm not willing to get the word out, and then I can't really help people. So I stand up here. I promise you, I hate public speaking. I think I'm probably one of the worst public speakers you ever see, in my own opinion. And but really, it's just a horrible thing. It's outside my comfort zone, but I do it because I'm committed to it. And there's lots of other people too, like Barbara Streisand used to just throw up almost every night before she performed. Laurence Olivier hated performing. And who else? Adele. She quite often will vomit before going on and then doing a kick-ass performance, right? Why? Because she'll go through what's required and get out of her comfort zone in order to do what she's passionate about. So, question for you, how many of you feel like you're working damn hard and you're not getting ahead as fast as you'd like to? Can I say a show of hands on that? Okay, I promise you this. You're not getting out of your comfort zone enough. As soon as you get out of your comfort zone, things will leap to a whole new level. It's amazing. So if you were one of those people that raised your hand, I want you to make a commitment to identify what can you do that's outside your comfort zone that will indeed help you move ahead in your business. Is it call a certain person that you've been putting off for 6 months? Is it come up and do your own public speaking event? What is it? And decide for yourself. But get outside your comfort zone. Because if you're following the path of least resistance, it's just not going to work. You're not going to get there. So, and I'll give you the flip side, actually. Think of the times you've made the biggest forward progress in your life. The leaps. Just reflect on one of those times. Isn't it true you were out of your comfort zone when that happened? Oh, yeah. So that validates what I'm saying. So you absolutely have to be willing to move forward in the face of fear. See, this is one thing people don't get. Do you know what courage is? Anybody know the definition of courage? Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is the experience of fear and moving forward anyway. That's how you move ahead. And that's called getting out of your comfort zone. So, accelerator number 3, expand your comfort zone. Make yourself bigger. Play in a bigger fishbowl, and you'll have more of that which you want. Again, make a note to yourself. Okay, how can I do this? And you already know, every single one of you has a place you could move out of your comfort zone right now. Write that down or make a note to self. You already know what it is. Don't pretend you don't. Okay? So, now we're going to move on to, in a way, the most obtuse, but the most powerful accelerator of all. Here's a question for you. How do you get more results with less effort?
Leverage.
Leverage. Who said that? Yes, you apply leverage. So what is leverage? Leverage it's about getting more results with less effort, right? Taking the resource you have and getting more results. And it's really about utilizing the resources that you have at your access to get a bigger result. So it's a very, very simple principle. It's super powerful, and it's very often neglected. And we could teach a whole weekend workshop just on leverage and finding ways to do it. But let's just take a look at the bigger picture. Utilize the power of leverage is the principle, and it's all based on your resources. So let's see, what do I got for slides here to support it? Well, let me just say this. So in 1984, Oprah Winfrey she had a talk show in Chicago, and she had about 60,000 viewers, which was pretty good for a talk show, I guess, in Chicago. But then, suddenly in 1986, her show was syndicated, and it went North America wide. Surprise, surprise, suddenly she had 30 million viewers per week instead of 60,000. Now, how much more effort was she putting in? None. It was just the same thing, but to a bigger audience, right? So the whole concept of this is for you to identify resources that you have that can be utilized, better utilized. So we'll get into a few options in a moment here. But in general, they're going to be either resources you have that you can leverage with other people, or you can leverage yourself. So for example, if you've got a particular product, and it's in a particular niche market, you could take that same product and find a way to utilize it in another market. You've leveraged all the work and expanded. That's one thing. The other thing you can do is you can take a resource that somebody else has and utilize that to leverage your situation. So for example, let's say that Disney comes up with a brand new ride that they're gonna put on. What's the first thing they do? They get together with McDonald's, who has a resource called Millions of Kids, and they say, let's leverage those kids for mutual benefit. We'll pay you some money and we'll promote our ride. So you're utilizing their resource. And then the third way you can leverage is to take one of your resources and sell it or license it, or let somebody else use it. And again, all of those ways are ways of getting far, far more results from less effort. Roger's got a great example of leveraging when here I am standing in front of 30 people or so. And how many people is it going to meet, Roger? Get to?
Time will tell, but within a week, another 100 to 200.
Okay, another 100 to 200 within a week. And then 2 years from now, it'll still be available. He's got the content, and he can utilize it. It's now become a resource for him, right? So you want to ask yourself this question. What resources do I have or have access to that will help me get what I want faster and with less effort? So one of the first places people normally think about is just referrals, asking people to introduce other people. That's a form of leverage, right? But I'll give you some other ways. Delegating, like just hiring somebody, getting Jocelyn to do your books for you, right? Or but to help you work with, like, find a way to help get results for you. Basically, that's delegation. You can pass them off, or outsource them. So that's one way. Even like money is leveraged. You can, when you buy your house, if you own your own home, then you put down a certain amount of money and you borrowed money from the bank. You're leveraging the bank's money. They're leveraging the money they have 6 times over so that they can make money from you as well. Marketing. Every form of marketing is about leverage. Who can you reach? And how much more does it cost to reach 1 million people than 100 people in terms of content in marketing? 0. It can be exactly the same content. It's about being smart about it and getting it out there. Or again, licensing a product that you've created to somebody else who could benefit from it. Duplication. Anytime you create something, then you can duplicate it over and over again into a different market, different situations. Absolutely an example of leverage. Systemizing, automating, using technology in any way is all about using leverage. Then you can hire me. Then we can hire you. Okay, good. And here's the last one I'm going to talk about is seeking out mentors. So for all of you, I know that you're in this room because you want to move ahead into your business. You want to be more successful. I still remember I work with a lot of financial advisors, and our program is particularly effective for financial advisors if they're earning $50,000 a year or more, up to $500,000 a year. I can almost guarantee that they'll be able to double their income in a couple of years by using my coaching and our program. So I was working with this very ambitious young advisor. He's like 25, 26 years old, been in the business for 4 years. And he said, well, I said, okay, I was coaching him one-on-one. I said, what do you want to get in terms of clients? He says, I want to get Peter Legge as a client. And you guys know who Peter Legge is? Owns business in Vancouver, or BC Business Magazine, I think it is, right? He's a big wheel around town, great speaker, well-known guy, very wealthy. And I said, well, okay, that's fine, but why would Peter Legge have you as a financial advisor? Don't you think he's kind of got his own guys, right? And he said, I want to get him as my client. I said, well, I've got a suggestion. Now, coaches, of course, aren't meant to make suggestions, but they do. True, right? Other coaches in the room. So I said to him, why don't we do this? Why don't you contact Peter Legge? You've seen him speak, you admire him, and say, Mr. Legge, I'm a young financial advisor. I'm 25 years old, and I really admire you and what you're doing, and I want to make the kind of difference you are. Would you be willing to let me buy you lunch and just kind of be around you and pick your brain a little bit? Now, what are the chances of Peter Legge saying yes? Well, Peter Legge, because of the kind of guy he is, probably 90% plus, right? So anyway, that's actually what happened. Was the client of mine contacted Peter Legge, they had lunch, and I said to him right up front, I said, before you go, first of all, you need to be prepared. So you need to know who he is, and you need to be able to have if he's going to give his time to you, you have to demonstrate respect to him. Right? You want to have your questions written down. You want to come with a notebook and take some notes and so on. You want to have been on his website, see what he's up to, read some of his articles, so that you can impress him. What's the point otherwise, right? So I said, you definitely want to do that. And I said, what's the worst thing that come out of this? Well, the worst thing is nothing. But think about this. There's a pretty good chance that even though he most likely has his own financial affairs pretty much in order, compared to what a 26-year-old financial advisor can offer, there's a possibility that he's going to say, well, you know what? I really like you. You're a professional. My cousin just moved to town, and he's got a smaller net worth. Why don't I introduce you to him? Possible, yes. Or I just bought another place in Whistler, and I need someone to do my insurance on my house insurance. Would you do that? Possible, yes. So there's good things that come out of it. And what's the worst case? The worst case is that you don't, nothing comes from it. So what, right? Or even that he says no. But and I said, but the other side of it, and this I'm telling you this story because I want all of you to get this in your own head. People that you can leverage in this way. So anybody who's more successful than you is who you want to look up to, right? And I said, if the lunch goes well, and you feel like you got some rapport going, you're saying, you want to say to them, listen, I really appreciate the time you took with me. I wrote down a few ideas. Would it be okay if I got back to you in 3 months and I'll let you know how it went? And it's quite possible you can build an ongoing mentorship relationship with somebody who's successful. That's a great form of leverage that every one of you can do. You can go to all of your people that you respect. You wish you'd like to have them as clients. Forget about that. Ask them to give you their opinion. Say, I just so admire you. Can I make my sales presentation to you and just get your feedback? They might even buy. But that's not your intent. Your intent is simply to use leverage. Got it? So leverage is one of the most challenging opportunities, but it's also the most powerful one of just blowing things out of the water. Jean-Pierre and Kate Russ LeBlanc, who own Sage. I mean, I've known them since they had their first store in White Rock. And they struggled, and they struggled, and they struggled for years. For like 20 years. It was just amazing what they put in. And then what happened? Some investor came along from New York. Boom, Sage stores all across the United States. So it can happen really quickly. You just got to find the leverage point. Okay, we're going to keep moving here. Accelerator number 4, utilize the power of leverage. Make a note to yourself, how can I do that? And I propose that you might want to be taking somebody for lunch, the best investment you could make. Got it? Okay, let's keep going. Accelerator number 5. Now, how many of you realize that it takes a lot of energy to be successful, yes? Okay, let me ask that question again, because some of you are too lazy to wave your hands up. Raise your hand if you know that it takes a lot of energy to be successful.
Yeah.
That's better, right? I woke you up. So it does. It burns a lot of energy. And so if you're going to be a peak performer, you have to have that energy. And I'm going to show you a way right here and now to unleash some energy without hardly doing anything. Is that a good idea?
Yes.
Okay, good. Let's take a look at it. So I want you to bring to mind, just close your eyes for a second or go internal, and think about your life. And think about some of the unfinished tasks that maybe you've been meaning to get that income tax done, or that computer upgrade, or submit that report, or clean up your email, or get the website updated, or maybe you got a messy room or a cluttered desk. Maybe the garage at home is a mess, or the car is a disaster. What's happening to your energy as you're seeing these things?
Heavy.
It's heavy, isn't it? Do you know what? Incompletion sucks your energy. This particular success principle, the accelerator, says, look at that picture and see what it does to your energy, and realize that you need to clear the clutter. Every unfinished task, every unfinished project sucks energy from you. It's like there's a circle that's almost like 3/4 closed, and there's an opening, and all the energy from you is going in there, and it's like a big drain. As soon as you close that circle, then the energy is preserved. Now, there's ways you can do that. You can close that circle. Number 1, you can do what needs to be done. Number 2, you can decide not to do it all and just toss it out. Number 3, you can delegate it. Get somebody else to do it. Number 4, you can, what I call, delay it. That is to say, just say, I'm not going to think about that again till the end of March. And that temporarily closes the drain. Does that make sense? So you want to absolutely clear the clutter, and there's 3 different areas I want you to think about. Number 1 is cleanups. So cleanup is like that desk. It's just something that's untidy and needs to be cleaned up. So, it could be business or personal, doesn't matter. And okay, here's an important point about this. Everybody's comfort level with clutter is different. So if you're married or live with somebody, what you know is that one of you has a higher threshold for clear tidiness and putting things away than the other, yes? Hopefully, with a little luck, you're the messy one, because the other person suffers greatly, but you both do, right? So when I say you want to clear the clutter, it's only the things that are sucking your energy. If it's not bothering you and it's not bothering your partner, then you're good, right? So for sure, you want to identify all the cleanups, the things that need to be done, the smudges on the windows, the car that needs washing, the, you know, all of the things that just are messy, okay? So they're sucking your energy. The second one is completions. So these are things that are started but not finished. They're unfinished emails, they're bills that aren't paid, they're income tax that's not submitted, all of these things that have got deadlines on them. And when you look at them, you go, oh, I should do that. Got it? And the third one, big deal, is deletions. So deletions, well, raise your hand if you've got kids or had kids. You know that stuff comes into your life all the time with kids, right? Especially. If you're not taking stuff out of your life at the same speed as it's coming in, guess what? You're getting more and more bogged down, and it saps your energy. So we live in a great street in North Vancouver out in Deep Cove. Everybody's got a beautiful 2-car garage. But you know what's amazing on our street? Nobody parks in the garage. Why do you think that is?
Clutter in the garage.
Because they all had kids that grew into teenagers, that all went to university, and the garage is full of ski equipment, hockey goals, motorcycles, all of that kind of stuff just sitting there. It's just amazing. And that clutter sucks your energy. Again, it's different for everybody, but anything that sucks your energy, you got to get rid of and start tossing stuff out right away. Otherwise, you're becoming a hoarder. Okay, so cleanups, completions, and deletions. Think about that and figure out how you can, call it an energy booster, how you can clear the clutter. You need to make time for that. So make a note to yourself or on your paper or in your mind, what's the one thing that you're going to do to reclaim some of your energy? Every time you complete one of those cycles, it absolutely gives you a hit of energy and it boosts you and it will help you become more successful. Okay, you got it? Accelerator number 6. This is one of my favorites. This is wisdom from my former partner, T. Harv Eker. So Harv was a pretty smart guy and he had lots of great sayings, but here's the one I loved more than anything. He used to say, when you do what's hard, life becomes easy. Now think about that. You do what's hard, life becomes easy. And then he says, and when you do what's easy, life very quickly becomes hard. So let's kind of look at an application of that. Let's say, you know, you're in a relationship and something's really, really bothering you. And you're all stirred up about it. And it's an important relationship. Is that sucking your energy?
Yes.
Absolutely. What's the easy thing to do?
Ignore it.
Just ignore it. How does that work out in the long run?
Disastrous.
It works out disastrous is exactly the answer. So what do you need to do? You need to confront it, bring it out, and do what's hard. Now, with relationships, let me be clear. If the relationship's not important to you, you don't need to do what's hard. You can just end it. But if the relationship is something you want to preserve and have strong, you need to deal with it. It works in so many different areas. It's different than a comfort zone, because with the comfort zone, it's more, here's something I've got to do and do a breakthrough. With the doing what's hard, what happens is it's a decision in a moment-to-moment basis. Okay, tomorrow morning, I'm telling you this is true, I'm going to the gym. Okay, now, when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning, I may have another thought, especially if there's snow on the ground, right? This way, you know what I mean? It's a decision. You're going to go one way or the other. Or let's say you're on a health food trend, and you go out for lunch with your friends, and the server says to you, would you like the fries or salad with that? It's a junction point. You know what? Nobody else cares. It's completely up to you. But if you take the path of least resistance, that diminishes your self-esteem and it completely trashes your momentum. So it's completely up to you. And it's emotional resistance more than doing what's hard physically usually. So what have we got here? Oh yes, here's a way we could do what's easy. Oh, I'll just have coffee and read the paper in the middle of the workday, right? And meanwhile, sitting there waiting for you is that list of clients that you were going to call. Assuming you work for yourself, who cares? Nobody. It's just in that moment, are you going to make the hard decision or the easy decision? Completely up to you. So, make sense? Okay. So you need to do what's hard. And again, it's just those junction moments. Take a moment. Think about where you're going to apply that principle in your life. Because it'll make a big difference for you. Okay, we're on to the 7th accelerator. This is the last of the 7 accelerators. That's why I call it the 7 accelerators. Let's take a look at this one. So imagine that you last year had a personal income of $60,000. And you set it, got ambitious, you set a goal. Didn't make a plan necessarily, but you set a goal. And your goal was to earn $100,000. Okay? So somewhat ambitious, but totally doable in your case, imagine. And at the end of the year, you earned $78,000. Here's my question for you. Is that a good goal, a good achievement, or a bad achievement?
Good and bad.
It's good. Well, the answer is, it depends how you look at it, right? You didn't achieve your goal of 100,000. So if you're going to measure based on that, you're going to beat yourself up, which, by the way, most people do, for falling short of your goal. But on the other hand, if you look at 78,000 after earning 60,000, that is a 30% increase. That's a pretty decent result. So bottom line is that how you look at things matters. Right? What's great? What's your interpretation of it? And one of the things I love to say to our clients is, forget about beating yourself up for falling short. Instead, focus on progress. Celebrate progress. And notice how far forward you moved, because we're usually our own worst critics. And when you pour cold water on your success, it just diminishes your momentum. So every single day, I encourage you to find and notice the things you did that worked well. And in our coaching program, our clients every week, we ask them to identify, what progress did you make? Not even what successes did you have? What progress did you make? Focus on that, and it builds your confidence, builds your momentum, and after a while, you become unstoppable. But if you keep noticing how far you fall short, pouring cold water on your fire, then you never get yourself going. Does that make sense? So celebrate progress. So make a note to yourself. Where can I put that into practice? And one of the things you can start to do is that every single day as you go to bed, or at least once a week for sure, is say, what progress did I make? Not where did I fall short of my goals? So those are the 7 accelerators. Prioritize your actions. Make plans, not goals. Expand your comfort zone. Utilize the power of leverage. Clear the clutter. Do what's hard. And celebrate progress. And here's what I'll tell you. If you do even one of those, you will accelerate your results. You'll move forward faster. And if you do all 7 of those simultaneously, it'll go exponential. They build on each other. And your results be really, really remarkable. I think I put that in there. Apply any one, the results will go up incrementally. You do them all, and it goes exponentially. So, how do you perform at a higher level? Now that we've got these principles, we're going to need to put them into action. We've given you some ideas of what to do, but how do you perform at a higher level without working harder? Because I'm sure that in most cases, you're already working pretty hard. Nod your heads, yes, right? So how do you get ahead and perform at a higher level without working harder or without learning something new? Well, it turns out the answer is actually simple. And this one I'm going to show you now, I'll say it, it's the number one most valuable principle for success that I've discovered in 25 years of coaching business owners. That's not just business owners, it applies in every area of your life. So the way that you get ahead, let's make sure I'm on track, very simple. Add structure. Now think about that. Structure is, doing things in certain ways, checking boxes and so on. Structure leads to a higher performance, greater consistency, and better results. And let me prove that to you if I may. So, raise your hands again if you've had kids. Okay, any of them ever play soccer? Okay, and if not, you can imagine this, you've probably seen this yourself. Imagine it's the first day of soccer season in October, and the 4 and 5 year olds are going out for their first soccer game. You got the picture? There's this great big field with lines all the way around it, and 99% of it's empty. What's going on? There's this cluster of kids around, like somewhere on the field, and it's moving around, and you can't even see the ball, right? Somewhere in there's a ball, but they don't know where the lines are. They don't even know which way they're going, which way's their goal in half the cases. There's no structure. But what happens? No worries. They come to a couple of games, and now they learn which way they're going. They get put into positions. They know what team they're on. They know some of the rules, and we add some structure, and they play a better game of soccer, right? And then they start to be maybe 7, 8 years old, and now they're in a league, and they're keeping track of who gets how many points and all that kind of stuff. They're doing now they're doing training, right? Practices and so on. Add a little more structure, get a better game of soccer. Then they get to be 9 or 10 years old. Now they're having tournaments, and they're going to boot camps, and they're, taking it more seriously. More structure, higher performance. They get to be 14 or 15. Now they're serious. Now they're tracking their calories. They're working out. They're really engaged in the game. They're doing drills up and down, timing themselves, all that kind of stuff. More structure, yes? Higher performance. And you know what? By the time they become a professional soccer player, their entire life is structured. They know how many hours they're going to sleep, how much they're going to exercise, how many calories they're going to take in, what time of day they're going to poop. They do everything, right? It's structure. Now, I'm not saying that structure is good. I am saying that structure leads to higher performance. We don't all want to be super structured, but I can tell you where it works. It absolutely works in athletics. Every world-class athlete has a lot of structure, yes? Not just the soccer teams, but the individual athletes as well. I'll tell you where else it works. In diet and weight loss. You find me somebody who's lost a significant amount of weight and kept it off without following a structure, and I will, bang my head. It would be stunning. It may happen, but almost never. That's why the diet programs, it's not about which one you're in, it's about which one works for you in the structure. Okay, I'll tell you where else. Elite military forces. If you and I decide we want to sign up for a boot camp tomorrow morning, we'd probably work more and get more done tomorrow than we did today. True? Okay. Now, if we decided we wanted to be in officer training, more or less structure? More. And if we wanted to even have, if we wanted to be in the elite forces, Navy SEALs or whatever, more or less structure? More. In fact, so much structure, every moment of their lives is structure. Structure leads to higher level performance. Same with high performance businesses, same with high performance airlines, where anywhere safety is crucial. I don't know if anybody saw First Man. Every single thing was structured in the space program. So the structure leads to higher performance, not good or bad, but there's a problem. The reason that you work for yourself is really simple. I'll give you actually 3 reasons. This is a generalization. How many of you have had a job where you worked for hourly pay before? Probably everybody in the room, right? So, and then you went on your own. So why'd you do that? Number one, your boss was an idiot. True?
True.
They were absolutely you're going, this guy's an idiot. How can I work for a company that doesn't employ a person like this? Right? Yes? Number two, they were making a lot of money off you. You look at how much they're charging, you're getting paid $16 an hour and they're charging you out at 60 or whatever. I want to take some of that money. That's how I started it myself. I was getting paid $100 a day as a first aid attendant. They were charging me out at $300. I went, I'm starting my own company. So I did. Found out, it got my eyes open. But the real reason that you have your own company is because you've worked for somebody else for long enough to know you don't want anybody telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. Yes?
Yeah.
So you started your own company, but the problem is that in the process, you completely throw out all structure. And I'm here to tell you that structure is your friend. You don't need to be completely structured, but you need some structure in order to get results. And I see you nodding there, DJ, because you know, in marketing, structure's everything, right? Everything's tested and double blinds and all that kind of stuff. That's how you get results. Not good or bad, right or wrong, but it's important. So my caveat is the structure's only going to work if it's used. Any structure, you've already seen streets. Well, we've gone to countries where structure of the street program isn't quite the same we have in Canada with traffic, yes? It's like, whoa, it's all over the map. So structure works if you use it, which means that implementation is essential. So I've given you the concept of structure, but I haven't given you anything to implement. So what's next? The secret to implementation. The secret to implementation is actually quite simple. You need to be engaged in it. Like athletes don't have any trouble following their regime because they got their eye on the gold. You know, or their team wants to win the cup or whatever. They're engaged, and when you've got a group of people, especially that are working for the same thing, so you have a team of coaches and so on, the engagement is high, and that makes structure easy to keep. However, it's very difficult when you're on your own, which brings us kind of the end of this piece here. Is that I created this program originally for Harbecker, and now I've been doing it now for the last for 18 years since I started with Harv. And basically what I managed to do, which was almost a mistake, it was almost by trial and error. What I did manage to do was create a structure that is got enough structure that any self-employed person will perform at significantly higher level, usually double their income with us. At the same time, it's flexible enough that people never seem to feel like it's telling them what to do. So it was just a magic thing that there's this structure that works for people that are self-employed, but doesn't constrain them. So this is my coaching program. It's called the Pro Coach Success System. It's a simple and effective structure that supports the majority of our clients to at least double their income in less than 3 years. Now, I'm not saying this is for you. I didn't come here to give you a big sales pitch, but I can tell you that my target client is anybody who's, number one, ambitious. They want to get ahead, and they are in a situation, they have an opportunity to get ahead. And they actually, you know, they're willing to make if they're getting paid based on performance, and they're willing to do something differently. If you're paid based on performance, you want to get ahead, then I can probably help you, and you should talk to me. If not, nothing to worry about. Just take those accelerators, put them into your life, figure out how to use them, and you'll get better results. That make sense?
Yeah.
Now, I did mention that I brought a gift for you. So this is a workbook. I'll hold up in front of the camera, actually, because everybody can have one. So this workbook is called the Long-Term Vision. It's a 25-page workbook. It'll help you identify what's your vision in all areas of your life. And this is a significantly improved version of what I did in Xerox in 1985. You need to know where you're going before you're ever likely to get there. How can you make a decision even getting up in the morning if you don't know what you want to accomplish? So this is a way of really getting you in touch, not just in your business, but what I found is there's 7 areas in your life that if you make them work, everything works. So one is your health and fitness, essential. One is business and career. One is money and finances, which is managing the money, not earning it, but taking good care of it and managing it well. The next one is relationships and family. That's number 4. Number 5 is recreation and lifestyle. Having the life, like where do you want to live, all that kind of stuff. Number 6 is contribution, giving back. And number 7 is personal, professional, and spiritual development, you growing yourself. 7 areas. They're not all the areas that there are, But if you get all of those areas working properly, my experience is that you will have everything else as well. So the other thing I'll say is that the reason that I do what I do as a business coach is very simple. The one area of that wheel of 7 areas that gives you access to all of the others is a self-employed business. You see people say, well, what about money and finance? Where are you going to get the money? Right? Well, what about family and relationship? Well, you can have the best family in the world, but if you've got a job that you're working at all the time, you know, they get into conflict. So your business and career, health and fitness is essential. You need to take care of that, but it doesn't give you everything else. Having a business that you love, that you're good at doing, and it's profitable and gives you a lifestyle that you want, that is the key to success. That's why I'm a business coach. I'm actually a personal coach that helps people create amazing lives. Got it? So I'm going to give every one of you the opportunity to have one of these. Roger, if we could just hand out these sheets. You don't have to fill one out, but I'm asking you to give me your contact information, and I will send you a copy of that workbook. And for anybody who's watching this on video, the information will be here. So, and you'll be able to order a copy as well. So what's next? Number 1, put what you've learned into practice, for sure. Number 2, register to receive your free long-term vision workbook, which has about, I say $97, it should be worth way more than that. But that'll be it'll take you some time, it'll take you some effort. You can do it over and over again to get clear, but it'll move you ahead. And number 3, contact us if you feel like you want to learn more about our coaching program. Talk to me, send us an email, and I'd be happy to chat with anyone. I don't sell coaching. I need to find people that want to be coached and want to get ahead to come to me, because you know, I can't work harder than you do, basically. It's kind of like your situation, right? Where you have these people, you know, you want them to succeed at their trading, but they're not willing to step up. So with that, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Hopefully you're going to be able to take these principles, put them into practice in your life. Every one of these accelerators will move you ahead. And like I said, if it feels like a fit, all of the accelerators are built into our system. And that's the difference. So you don't need to remember them if you're part of one of my clients. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you very much, Roger.
Thank you. On behalf of Vancouver Business Network, we all thank you. Life this evening is 7s, 7 accelerators, 7 areas of life. TELUS Business, thank you for making this production possible. We're all done now. This video will be up and running at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. I thank you for your time and your trust in joining us this evening. We're going to stop the recording. Then Andrew is going to take some questions from the audience, and then we're going to call it a night.